The link arrived at 2:11 in the morning. Daniel was awake, though he had no reason to be. The apartment was silent, except for the humming refrigerator and the distant wail of a siren somewhere beyond the rain-streaked window. He had fallen asleep on the couch again, the television still glowing with muted images he hadn't watched. His phone vibrated against the wooden coffee table, the sound sharp in the stillness. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. He had learned over the past year that late-night messages rarely brought anything good. But something in him stirred, a restlessness, a memory. He reached for the phone. It was just a link. No text, no explanation, just the link. His throat tightened. He didn't need a name attached to it to feel the weight of it. There were only a handful of people who would send him something at 2:11 in the morning, and only one who would send him a link without a single word. Lena? His thumb hovered over the screen. They hadn't spoken in 11 months. Not since the hospital, not since the argument. In the corridor that still echoed. In his head, like a wound that refused to close. You weren't there, Daniel. I was working. You were always working. He swallowed hard and tapped the link. The screen shifted. A paused video. Black thumbnail. The timestamp read 4:36. His heart pounded so loudly he could hear it in his ears. He pressed play. For a few seconds, there was only darkness and static. Then the image sharpened. Lena's face filled the screen. She looked thinner, pale. Her hair was pulled back, but strands fell loosely around her cheeks. The background was unfamiliar, sterile. White walls, a faint beeping sound in the distance. A hospital room. Daniel's chest constricted. She looked directly into the camera, her eyes red but steady. If you're watching this, she said softly, it means I finally had the courage to send it. Her voice. He hadn't heard it in almost a year. It cut through him with unbearable familiarity. I didn't know if I should, she continued. You deserve peace, maybe even happiness. But I also know I owe you the truth. Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees, fingers digging into his scalp. Truth. The word tasted bitter. The memory rushed back to him. That night in the corridor outside her father's room. The machines beeping. The doctors moving quickly, Lena's trembling hands, and him arriving too late. He had been across town, closing a deal he thought would secure their future. A promotion, a bigger apartment, stability. By the time he reached the hospital, her father was already gone. She had looked at him not with anger, but with something worse, disappointment. I called you 3 times. I was in a meeting. He asked for you. Those words had sliced through him. In the video, Lena took a shaky breath. The night my dad died, she said, her voice trembling now. I blamed you. It was easier than blaming myself. Daniel froze. She lowered her gaze briefly, then looked back up. He told me he was in pain weeks before. I told him it was nothing. I told him we'd schedule a checkup later. I was too busy planning the wedding. Too busy choosing flowers and tasting cakes and arguing about seating charts. Her lips quivered. I thought we had time. Daniel felt something inside him crack open. Time. They had both believed in it so blindly. I wanted someone to carry the guilt with me, she whispered. And you were late. So I made you the villain. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. Daniel remembered how she had walked away from him in that corridor. How he had stood there, stunned, pride wounded, heart bleeding. How he hadn't chased her. He had told himself she needed space. Space had turned into silence. Silence had turned into months. In the video, Lena shifted slightly. The camera wobbled, as if it had been propped on a bedside table. There's something else, she said, and this time her voice broke completely. Daniel's stomach twisted. I'm sick. The word echoed like a gunshot. I found out 3 months after Dad passed. Stage 3, aggressive. I didn't tell you because... She laughed weakly. Because we weren't speaking, and I was too proud to call. His vision blurred. She continued, wiping at her eyes. I kept thinking you'd reach out, that you'd knock on my door and say we were being stupid. But you didn't. Her gaze softened. I know now that you were hurting too. Daniel pressed a fist to his mouth to keep from making a sound. Sick. Stage 3. The hospital room. The paleness. His mind raced. When was this recorded? How long ago? I'm not sending this to make you feel guilty, she said quickly. as if she could hear his thoughts. "I'm sending it because I don't want to leave this world with lies between us." Leave this world. His heart slammed violently against his ribs. "I loved you, Daniel," she said, tears streaming freely now. "I loved you even when I was angry, even when I was unfair. I was scared. I didn't know how to grieve. I didn't know how to forgive myself." She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "If you ever wonder whether I stopped loving you, the answer is no. I never did." The video flickered slightly. "There's one more thing," she whispered. Daniel leaned closer to the screen, as if proximity could change what came next. "I didn't want to tell you this unless I had to. But if you're watching this, it means I might not get the chance in person." His hands were shaking now. "I was pregnant." The world seemed to tilt. Daniel's breath left him in a broken gasp. "I found out 2 weeks before Dad passed," she continued. "I was going to surprise you at dinner. I even bought a little pair of socks." Her face crumpled. "But after everything happened, after we stopped talking, I didn't know how to reach you. And then the treatment started. The doctor said the stress, the medication." She closed her eyes. "I lost the baby." Daniel felt as if something inside him had been ripped out. A child. Their child. He imagined tiny socks in a drawer somewhere. Imagined a life that had almost been. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm sorry for everything." He couldn't breathe. "I don't know what happens next," she said after a long pause. "Maybe I beat this. Maybe I don't. But if I don't, I need you to live." Her eyes locked onto the camera with fierce intensity. "Don't hide in your work. Don't build walls and call it strength. Love someone. Forgive yourself. Forgive me." The beeping in the background grew louder for a moment. "You were going to be an incredible father," she whispered. "And you were already a good man. I just couldn't see it through my grief." The video stilled for a second. She reached forward, perhaps to stop the recording, then hesitated. "If I get another chance," she said softly, "I hope it's with you." The screen went black. Daniel stared at his reflection in the dark display. The room was silent again, but nothing inside him was. He replayed the video. Then again, each time new details surfaced. The IV line taped to her hand, the exhaustion in her eyes, the sincerity in her voice. He checked the upload date. 3 days ago. 3 days. His pulse roared in his ears. Was she still alive? Why had she sent it now? He didn't think. He didn't weigh pride or fear. He grabbed his keys, his jacket, and ran out into the rain. The drive to the hospital felt endless. Every red light was an enemy, every second a thief. He didn't know which hospital. The background had been plain, but there was one she had mentioned when treatment began. Before they stopped speaking, he prayed it was that one. When he burst through the sliding glass doors, breathless and soaked, the receptionist looked startled. "I'm looking for Lena Morales," he said, his voice cracking. The woman typed quickly. Daniel's heart pounded so violently he thought he might collapse. "She's in oncology," the receptionist said gently. "Room 512. He felt his knees weaken with relief. Alive. He took the elevator, each floor crawling by. When the doors opened, the corridor was quiet. Dimly lit, the smell of antiseptic sharp in the air. He walked slowly now, fear creeping in. Room 512. He stood outside the door, hand hovering over the handle. What if she didn't want to see him? What if he was too late in another way? He pushed the door open. Lena lay in the bed, eyes closed. Machines surrounded her. The rhythmic beeping filled the space. She looked smaller than he remembered. For a moment he just stood there, drinking in the sight of her. Then her eyes fluttered open. Confusion flickered across her face. Then disbelief. "Daniel?" His name on her lips broke something inside him. He crossed the room in 3 strides. "You sent me a link," he said, voice shaking. "At 2:11. Tears welled in her eyes. "You watched it?" He nodded. They stared at each other, a year of silence collapsing into that single moment. "I'm sorry," they both said at the same time. A fragile laugh escaped her. He took her hand carefully, mindful of the IV. "I was a coward," he whispered. "I should have fought for us." She squeezed his fingers weakly. "We were both drowning." Silence settled between them, but it was no longer heavy. It was raw, honest. "I thought I lost you," he admitted. "I'm still here," she said softly. He pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. I'm not going anywhere, he said. Not this time. Over the next hours, they talked about her treatment, about her father, about the baby they never got to hold. They cried. They apologized. They forgave. As dawn began to seep through the window, casting pale light across the room, Lena leaned back against the pillow, exhausted but peaceful. You came, she murmured. Of course I did. She studied his face. I was so sure you wouldn't. He brushed a strand of hair from her forehead. You don't get to decide that for me anymore. A faint smile curved her lips. For the first time in a year, Daniel felt something other than regret. Hope. It was fragile, uncertain, but it was there. And as he sat beside her, holding her hand while the machines hummed steadily, he understood something he hadn't before. Time was never guaranteed. Love wasn't something you postponed for promotions or pride. It was something you chose every day, even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. He bent forward and pressed his forehead gently against hers. We're not done, he whispered. Outside, the sun rose slowly over the city, painting the sky in quiet shades of gold. And for the first time since that night in the hospital corridor, Daniel wasn't late. He was exactly where he needed to be,